The infamous New York Times article. Was it Leslie, Ryan, or both? The rabbit hole we're about to go down requires some snacks, so get ready and let's unpack this. Meet John Rogers. He created Ariel Investments, which manages over $12.9 billion in assets. He also happens to be a member on the board of directors for none other than New York Times. He also happens to own stocks in Paramount, and who do we know works with Paramount? Ryan. Back in 23, this is how many stocks he had. In 2024, he doubled his shares in Paramount Global. John also has stocks in Manchester United. Ryan has gotten some of his athletes for his Wrexham team from Manchester United. Ariel Investments also has stake in Microsoft. And who has done deals with Microsoft? Deadpool, aka Ryan. They also have stocks in Capital One. And that's really important because Blake's ex-BFF, Taylor Swift, has a multi-year partnership with Capital One. The partnership runs deep, so deep that it was known as Taylor Swift The Eras Tour, presented by Capital One. They even have exclusive Taylor Swift access, and they're noted on her website, and including Capital One exclusive Taylor Swift Midnight's box set. Keeping in mind that the height of all the It Ends With Us drama was happening behind the scenes during the Eras Tour. So we didn't know what was going on at the time, but Taylor, Blake and Ryan and Justin, everyone else. This was also around the time that Blake and Ryan were still name dropping Taylor left and right, and everybody knew that they were besties. There's one piece to this puzzle that nobody has looked at yet, and it's this complaint right here, the initial complaint that Blake filed. Well, let's see. Did she file it? Because this right here, you see it. This is what was posted on the New York Times article. What's missing? The court stamp. There is no court stamp document that I can find of this complaint that tells us exactly what time that Ezra filed this. We have no idea. And that's extremely important because December 20th is when Lively filed her initial complaint. So we're told. Yet at 9:46 p.m., December 20th, Megan Tooley reached out to the Wayfair parties for a response to the article that she was working on writing. How did she have time to work on it that quickly the same day that Blake filed the complaint? Unless she got a heads up. Could it be that the New York Times article was an IOU for Leslie because Leslie helped Megan at one point? Allegedly. A year before the Harvey allegations, Leslie's new PR firm, Vision PR, was funded by Harvey Weinstein. And it said that Leslie was the source for the Harvey Weinstein drop to Megan Tooley. All right, so here's my theory as to what happened. Leslie had an IOU from Megan saved in her back pocket for a rainy day. Ryan, being married to Blake, is obviously not going to want to see anything happen to her. I think they were trying to play a game of chicken and basically psych Justin out and think that they're going to file a lawsuit, but they had no intention of doing so. So what they did was they came up and drafted this entire complaint in the format that they're supposed to do if they decide that they are going to go forward and, send it off to the court. But they didn't have it filed. That's why there's no timestamp, and they didn't send in New York Times a timestamped version. They sent them their draft. Since the metadata shows that they were working on this before December 20th, I would say that they had been plotting and kind of brainstorming how they wanted to drop this. Hence why they dropped it on the exact same day. Oh, Blake filed the complaint December 20th. Oh, New York Times is reaching out December 20th. But let's talk about how sketchy Megan was about reaching out.
This is the email of New York Times reaching out to Justin's team regarding comment before they published the article. Keep in mind that the subject line says urgent questions from New York Times. Now just pause this here, and do you see any questions? Do you see a question mark anywhere? I'll wait. How about here? Do you see it anywhere? Or here? Where's the questions? Oh, the urgent questions that they had wasn't questions. It's this paragraph right here. We are seeking your response to the claims of retaliation through this PR campaign, and we would welcome the opportunity to talk with you on the record. Please offer any on-the-record comment, as well as any information that you think we should know. Interesting. There's no question. How are you conducting any journalism without any questions? Because to me, you're just laying out accusations and not asking anything. So to me, it comes across as you've already made your decision. This is the email response from Justin's team. Pause to read. Keep in mind that there's already record that New York Times was working on this case days before they even reached out to Justin's team. As early as December 10th, 10 days before they reached out to Justin and 11 days before they published the article. Before I go more into Megan Tooley, let's talk about the motivation behind it. I believe that her motivation is for her to write a book and a movie about the situation. She's already done it once before with Harvey Weinstein. Megan stated that she got to speak with Harvey one time and one time only. Megan describes the meeting as this. She stated she booked a small conference room with glass walls. That way anyone can see inside. Harvey showed up with tons of folders and a team of lawyers. When he walked in, she stated, "You've got 15 minutes and not a minute more." To which the lawyers launched into a 10-minute smear campaign of the victims. If you're a journalist, you are supposed to remain unbiased. Did you, whenever you were interviewing all those victims, walk in with, "You've got 15 minutes and not a minute more"? No. And he obviously came with evidence, and you didn't even give him enough time to go through everything. And you're labeling it a smear campaign, which tells me you're already biased. That's what I'm so infuriated about all of this, because code of ethics is entirely crucial when it comes to journalism. And one of the key things is you're supposed to remain neutral. And what came after this? She wrote a book and a movie about SA for the Me Too movement. So why is that important? Because I have a feeling she's planning on writing a book and a movie about this. But let's hear from Megan.
I think this story raises broader questions about just how much of what we consume online is being manipulated to serve one interest or another.
Oh, the irony of New York Times and Megan writing an article about them being sued. They stated, "The role of independent news organization is to follow the facts wherever they lead." They continue on that they meticulously and responsibly reported, and that they quoted accurately and at length. They investigated themselves, you guys. It's okay. They didn't do anything wrong. So they say. Let's reread the original article, shall we? Where they stated that Miss Nathan, whose clients include Johnny Depp and rappers Drake and Travis, went hard at the press, pushing to prevent stories about Mr. Baldoni's behavior and reinforcing negative ones about Miss Lively. They go on to state that the effort to tarnish Miss Lively appears to have paid off.
And they accuse Lively and the Times of cherry picking or misrepresenting text messages to suggest that it did.
Cherry picking evidence. Let's talk about that for a moment. Take a look at these screenshots where Justin's ensuring this is not us, correct?
According to Lively's complaint, Baldoni himself took an active role in this process. I mean, text messages show that he encouraged the PR team.
What I find the most fascinating is that Megan describes herself as an investigative journalist that seeks to expose wrongdoing. Yet that seems to be exactly what she's doing.
I think Leslie used her IOU from Megan, and then Ryan used every networking connection he could possibly use to get this under control. That's just my theory, though. What do you guys think? And as always, this is all alleged, so take with a grain of salt and follow me for more.